Welcome to the 11th episode of the European Republic, the podcast where we talk with people from the Eurofederalist bubble. And today I have as a guest Giacomo. Giacomo is a winner of the Charlemagne Youth Prize, I think 2025.
Yeah, with Forum.
Exactly. But you also have your own project. You have co-founded and are leading as a president Last Call Europe platform for young Europeans to debate and discuss and publicize their opinions on Europe. Welcome, Giacomo.
Thank you for inviting me.
Great having you. So let's start maybe before we get into what you're doing with your journalistic and activistic work. What does Europe mean for you personally, politically? Why have you started basically writing about it?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you again for inviting me. Your project seems amazing, and I'm very happy to be here. And so Europe means a lot for me, both politically, but also like what it represents in normal life. Because seeing like growing up, we've usually talk about how our generation is fed up with these news about how the world is going, wars everywhere, and the whole situation doesn't seem very nice for us. And growing up, seeing like Europe has a way of finding a solution for this situation, finding like something to represent you globally, because we know that in the world we are in, we have China, we have Russia, United States. Our countries alone are not the best way to represent us. We've seen it in many situations, and therefore having a union that is powerful enough, maybe it should be more powerful in the future, but we still have something today we can get close to. And we have something that represents us, as I said, in the chessboard of the international relationships. And politically, it has also been important for me because mostly everything I've done in politics and journalism, I've done it because like linked it to Europe. I've been to the European Youth Fest in Strasbourg. I've visited both Strasbourg but also Brussels. So I've come in contact with the whole European world, and it's something that is truly amazing, in my opinion. We have tons of opportunities. You can meet a lot of people. We also met because of the project we are doing for Europe. And so it's a way for us to feel represented, as I said, to have some kind of security in this world, which is not really promising in some ways. But also it's a way of having opportunities for our future, for the project we're doing. And so it has been a way for me to get in contact with politics. In Italy, it's not... sometimes Europe is not seen very well. In Italy, we are living in a moment in which we have many right-wing politicians and parties that are leading towards a less Europe future. Like they don't want to see the European Union like we envision it. But we also have many pro-European forces in the center right, in the center left, and they are still holding the ground. And I think there will be some changes in the future for sure, but I still feel represented in the way they envision Europe, which is a Europe where Italy is still the main thing I will try to explain to the people of my country in the future is that more Europe doesn't mean less Italy. It's a way of like, you still have your country, you still have the place you live in, but on the international level, you have the securities that you don't have right now, being a single country, and that has become a fact. So I'd say that Europe is very important for the opportunities I got, for the political opportunities I got, but also for the way of understanding the future.
I very much agree. Saying more Europe doesn't mean less Italy. What do you mean exactly by that? So do you have like a concrete vision how the future of Europe should look like?
Yeah, so I said that because in Italy, the main argument against Europe, besides the bureaucracy, but we all agree on that, I believe, is that the main argument is that if you have a bigger Europe, if you have a stronger European Union, a more present European Union, you're going to have a less powerful Italy, or maybe the government will be less powerful, as you said, and maybe you will lose some rights. I don't know what they have in their minds. But the idea that we need to understand is that besides how we want to envision it, we have people envisioning a Europe of regions instead of Europe of like states. There are people who want a something more similar to the United States. There are people who want a more structured confederation. But at the end, we need to understand that it's going to be a process. And the first step for this process is to have a stronger Europe on the key things we need to have is stronger, which is international relationships. We have the defense also. and the way that Europe talks with the other countries on commerce, on war situations, and all of that. When you have a stronger Europe, let's say on the defense level, so you have some kind of European defense, you have some kind of plans to help Ukraine in recovery, but also defending itself in the future. That doesn't mean that you are taking something off Italy. You are just upgrading Europe somewhere where Italy is not able to reach out, because there is no future in which Italy or any other European countries will be able to sit at the table with Russia, USA, and China without being some kind of ally of the three. If you want to be independent, if you want to join a table where you are able to speak up, to give a value to your ideas, you have to be uh, some kind of like bigger power. You have to need to have some recognition. We've seen at the G7 that Trump was able to lie about what Meloni did. They're still trying to understand what happened, but it doesn't matter. Like the whole situation, the idea behind the fact that a European president, the American president, can just go to its ally in Italy and bully him online. That's not something we need to live with. We need to live in a situation where if the US presidents want to attack anyone in Italy, we need to have a European representative that is able not only to respond on social media with words, but also with facts, with something that can be measured, maybe in commerce or in defense and stuff like that. And we are very struggling with it. Our defense at the moment is basically attached to the American one. When the Americans
Yeah.
decide to increase their budget in defense, then we're also going to do something similar, or the complete opposite. And so when I say that more Europe doesn't mean less Italy, is that in the first step of the project, then we can think about what's going to happen in 20, 30 years. But the first thing you have to do is to have a bigger representative in the international relationships, and you have to have a strong European Union. You cannot have the tables for the discussions of the future of Ukraine, and you have 7 different countries. You have to have one representative that speaks for the 7, or in the case the 27. And the second thing you need to have is one single defense project. You cannot have 27 countries, or also we have NATO at the moment. You cannot be attached to America this much, seeing who they can get elected. In the next elections
Mhm.
in 2028, we don't know who's going to get elected. Maybe it can go, it can be good for us, maybe not. If it's not, we'll still have a defense project, a defense plan, which is attached to the plan of a country which doesn't work for our interest. Maybe we can say it's right, it's wrong, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, we need to understand that we have a visible threat, which is Russia on the east. We have an
Mhm.
ally which is getting away more and more with time, which is the United States. And then we have China, which is a very big economic power. We still don't know what they want to do with their military, but at the moment, we need to think of what is good for us. So what I would say to all the politicians going against this is that it is utopical to think that Italy will be able to stand alone in this scenario. It's not like we were in the First World War or the Second World War. We need we are not in the center of attention anymore. We have other superpowers. And so we need to become one. To become one, you cannot be 27 states alone. You need to have one representation.
Yeah, I agree very much. I mean, the European states divided are very easy to like play for the bigger powers with. We see that with Britain since Brexit.
Yeah.
Still, a lot of people, I mean, especially like in Italy, you have a lot of like populist right. You have like Meloni. Well, Meloni turned out to be not as hardline against Europe as many people feared, but still, why is there such a big skepsis towards, or is there a big skepsis towards the European project in Italy? But would you say it's just the general mistrust because politicians like to blame Brussels for everything, or are there like deeper historical or economic reasons why people are more distrust, not that convinced of a European project?
Yeah. So I would say that, as you said, like Meloni turned out to be much more easy to work with instead of what we were thinking. I believe that right now with Salvini, but also Bannacci, which is the new far right party with Futuro Nazionale, they surely are a threat on the way of we envision Europe. I believe they are so because in Italy we have many elements that add up to this situation. The first one is that the Brexit, like Brexit was a very bad hit for the United Kingdom. But the problem is that you see the results, you don't see the results in few years. You have to see in decades the results of such a project. We have seen in the numbers that they had a very hit on many situations, but for the people, it's not something that you can understand most of the times. You're talking about many numbers, many international relationships, things that it's hard to understand, and therefore the people, I think that the majority didn't really understand the damage that the Brexit has done to the United Kingdom. So they still have this idea of being independent again. We are a very nationalistic country. Our nationalist movement are very powerful because of the
Mhm.
sentiment we have, which sometimes, of course, may be good. But when you look at how they try to work with it, the populist movement, they try to build around it, the way that Bruxelles, as you said, is always the bad player in everything. That's a way of like getting rid of all the things you've done, all your faults, and try to picture one single enemy. This time the enemy is Bruxelles. We've seen in the past that many times they try to find the big enemy that they needed to fight in order to solve the situation, and that's basically where we're heading to. Right now, the enemy is Bruxelles, so everything bad that bad happens to Italy is because of Brussels. But also we have, and I believe that while they don't understand, in the first years, the fight about the European Union was also about the euro. There were people talking about getting out of the euro. And that's mostly because they the euro came in a very fragile situation when in 2008 we had the crash, and so for the economies it was not the best for everyone in the world. And euro in
Mhm.
fact saved our situation because Italy was able to sustain the deficit we have. We were able to continue to invest in our welfare because the euro was existing and because of BCE. But when you have, we also had some down points. We had people with inflation rising, people losing jobs, we had people getting poorer. And so, since that they don't understand that without the euro, it would have been much worse, they just see how it went with the euro. They see in the big picture we had some down points, and therefore they're trying to they try to attack the European Union and for the euro on that level. So I believe that the problem with European Union, just like any other very big project, is that it's very far away from the people. A
Mhm.
someone from Turin, from a city, or someone from Milan doesn't see Europe as close as it would like to be, and therefore it's easier to attack it, but also it's also easier to feel very separated. There is no European sentiment in Italy at the moment, or it's being crushed by the more nationalist sentiment. And therefore it's something we have to work about. We need to show them the big picture. We also need to show them where it's truly going, where we are heading to, because the threats we talked about before, they are not invisible. There will be a time in which those threats will be much closer. We have seen with Trump. Anytime Trump decided to apply those tariffs, we were able to sustain ourselves because we have an interlinked economy at the moment in the European level. It's something that the people that it's not because someone is stupid or something else. It's because it's really hard to understand as a concept, the European Union, in my opinion. We need to make it
Mhm.
less hard to understand, but also less far away. The moment the European Union is as present as those populist politicians are, then they're going to see the difference between the two. Vanacci, which is the new Futuro National leader, he only talks about immigration and nothing else. The moment the journalists decide to ask him economic question, the moment people decide to ask him really key things about our economy and not only about the LGBT and about immigration, people are going to understand that he is much less trustworthy than they believe this. But at the moment, he only talks about immigration, no one else does, and so he has anything to talk about. So I believe that we need to get Europe back on a very talk to talk level. It needs to be much closer to the people, and it's really hard to do because it's a very big project. There are many countries in it. You have to focus on multiple countries at the same time. You have many issues, but I believe that in some ways we can find a way to do it. It's necessary,
Mhm.
in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean that the migration issues or like gender, cultural topics, as you said, it's something that like populists like to distract from like real material problems. I
Yeah.
think like Italy, you had for a long time or still have a very high youth unemployment. I think it was really bad in the 2014, something that's at 40%. Now it's down to like 20, which is like still high. Would you say what are like the biggest challenges that Italy faces in general right now, and how and where is like Europe maybe an opportunity for Italy?
Yeah. So I believe that the main challenge right now, which is the bigger one, we still have problems, of course, with immigration. We have problems with bureaucracy. But all those problems, I think that they become smaller when you think about the youth problem in general. You have
Hmm.
youth unemployment, but you also have the numbers of youth going outside of Italy and the numbers of youth going inside of Italy. I don't remember the ratio, but we have way more students decided to go study somewhere else instead of students from outside Italy deciding to go and study in Italy. We also have the same pattern in the jobs. We have many people looking for jobs outside of Italy instead of people inside of Italy. And that's because of the fiscal pressure we have, but also of the inflation, which is basically eating all the money of the people. And we are in a, that puts the people in a very our situation because the youths are the future of the country. In some ways, they are the present of the country because on how politics is moving, we are at the moment the present of many, many topics. And therefore, the politicians need to address this issue. The fact that for a young Italian to find a job here is more hard to find it somewhere else in Europe, maybe on Amsterdam or in France or in Germany, it's something crazy because in the past, like moving out, going to the side of Italy was seen as something very hard to do, something that costs a lot of money. And right now, because of the quality of the jobs, the amount of money they pay compared to the quality of jobs outside of Italy, people are willing to get in debt to go live outside of like the comfort bubble just to seek a job which looks way better than it is here. We have a structure which doesn't support the youths that want to go to work. We have a lot of people that are
Hmm.
interested in working. They try to do their best to find a work, to find the best study process, and we are not investing in them. When you see the state which is not investing in you, you are not interested anymore in staying here. You see that maybe your future will be better somewhere else, and so they are going out. We have few parties talking about this. We have the coalition, which is in the government right now. They don't address the problem. They just say that they have done better than the others. And then you have the opposition, which is still talking about numbers of 10 years ago. We know that 10 years in politics is enormous amount of time. Everything changes. And therefore, I think there are a few parties that sometimes talk about it, but you don't really have a big force which is trying to find a solution to this. And we have improved in some things. Our schools, our universities are getting better. Like in Turin, we have the Polytechnical, which is becoming one of the best ones in Europe. But still, the problem is still alive. And so I believe that the youth problem in general is something that we need to address. Then of course you have immigration, of course you have inflation in Italy. Our inflation, our fiscal pressure is too high for normal people. You have also the problem of people buying a house. Buying a house is becoming really hard. And you know you there are plenties of problems, bureaucracy, corruption, but all those problems are somehow linked to the difficulties that the youths are facing right now. And not addressing the difficulties for the youths is basically uh, avoiding the problem at all. So I believe
Yeah.
that I believe that the populist of the you have populists on the right wing, but also on the left wing. They're both gonna lose numbers as soon as people realize that they're always talking about the same issues. Futuro Nazionale, for example, are only talking about immigration. The opposition is not giving real numbers. They just want to tackle a big scheme. No one is talking about the real issues. When the people realize it, because they will, because we always think that the majority is stupid and something, but they realize what is happening. And as soon as they see that nothing will be done, and the next election is just going to be another turnout with the same names, I think that something will happen. In Italy, it's very hard, but I believe that in other countries it will be much faster than us.
Hmm. Yeah, well, still, the like, especially what you said, like with the youth issues, that politicians don't take really the issues of the young people serious nowadays. I think it's unfortunately not only an Italian phenomena, but we see that all over Europe. We see that also in Germany. See that in France because of the demographic change. And while a lot of maybe like young Italians go to like Germany or Northern Europe for jobs, we have again a lot of people from like Germany or Northern Europe when moving to, for example, the United States or to Asia, and we have like 1 to 2 million Europeans each year who leave Europe to go somewhere else because they feel the fiscal pressure. Me, even if it's not equal across all of Europe, it's quite high, especially on the young generations. So I feel a little bit like Europe, unfortunately, it's becoming a gerontocracy where the old people, basically, the politics is catered to them. And it's very hard for the younger generations, basically anyone younger than 40, to really be heard in politics. Do you share that impression?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah.
I believe that like on European level, I'm not very like I see this, but I'm not really educated on understanding how they move towards. I see the support for youth. I also see the support they do not give. But I have a clearer picture for Italy. In Italy, the older class, which is we have a really big issue right now with pensions. There are people being paid by the state because they're in pension and they got there at a very young age compared to what we will be going towards. We don't have the money anymore to sustain this pension system, which will mean that my generation will be much harder situation after they're done with work. And so I also see this situation. What I believe is that when you see this picture, that's what should give you the force to start something like the project we have started. Because when you see that the politics is getting away from the younger generation, when you see that the youths are being like separated from the political situation and everything else, that's the moment you need to understand you as a young person you need to do something by yourself. If the context you're living in doesn't bother about your situation, it's the moment that you need to do something by yourself. We still have
Mhm.
politicians that are on our side. We can picture it on sides, but I believe that that's not enough, and I believe that the more projects like ours, so the more projects run by youth, the more projects that are interested in European politics and that whose like the main figures are young people, young Europeans, that situation will be mm, those projects will be the ones that will be guiding Europe towards a more youth
Mhm.
friendly system, in my opinion. So, having people discussing, debating just like we're doing, or doing events with young people, young politicians. I've done it. I've done events with the representatives of the major parties in Italy and the youth representatives, and it went amazing. We had over 100 youths coming to see the event because like the young people, they are interested in politics. We need to get away of this idea where this this idea where the youths are not interested. We are very interested. We are proving it right now. We just
Yeah.
need to have the space to move. We need to have the space for people to listen to us. And so, in my opinion, we are a very big example of how even though the system somehow we can say failed under this topic, we're still are trying to find a way to make our voices heard. And I believe that seeing the amount of people that are joining these projects, I believe that we will be a part of an important change in the future, because in 10
Mhm.
years it's not going to be about us anymore but about the generation after us and so on. So it's something that we need to work on also for the future, not only for ourselves. And so seeing that we are part of this at the moment, we're not like, we need to stop thinking about you. Youths only about for the future, but also for the present. We're not only the protagonists of the future, but also the present. Like we are part of society. We vote, we work, we fulfill like produce for the economy. We participate to debates, events. We are studying, of course, but we still contribute to society. And so we need to get outside of this. uh, we need to do it for the future. We don't need to work for the future. We need to work for present, because we are part of the present, and you don't have any structure in the future if you are not willing to do something for the situation we're in right now, in my opinion.
Mhm. I very much agreed, and I also love this attitude of just the young people, the younger generations. We have to just get active and start doing something on our own get involved in politics because maybe even if we are like fewer, like at head counts demographically, we have usually a bit more energy than the old boomers and also new ideas, fresh ideas. And Europe needs that very much. And that's also something that you're doing yourself with Last Call Europe. Tell us, how did Last Call Europe start and what is it actually?
Yeah. So we started in September of
Hmm.
2025. I started the project because I saw an opportunity on one side because I had many people were interested in working on something similar, and they were all starting to like ask if there was something similar. We were all the same boat. But I also started because I saw in the European level, I saw lack of interest by the project to do what I considered is the best thing, of which is doing debates. I believe that
Hmm.
politics is built around debate, discussion, to confront your ideas with the others. And I saw that there were many projects with that they were starting to be very fossilized. They were starting to cut debates, just to cut discussions to get to the solution they had in mind. And I was starting to see a space for me for the project for us. I saw the space and I decided to embrace it. We started as Code Europe as we say in everywhere with the idea of shaping Europe through debate. So to create a space for people to discuss their ideas, to discuss their opinions in order to create a better Europe for the future. And even though we are still working, we will still need to work very hard. We have done it. In some ways, we created a space both on our group on WhatsApp, but also on our Discord server. We have a space for people to talk. Whenever we
Hmm.
make a post, whenever we make some content, people discuss about their ideas about that. We discuss about how we want to picture it, where our project is heading to. And so we have a space for debate. We have a space where I have over 30 people from different countries of Europe discussing about what is going on. And that's for me the best accomplishment because you have people that are interested in the same things that didn't have the space to discuss prior to that, and you have to create one of the many projects that are growing right now. And so it's a space for debate. We also share content like regarding the political situation, international situations. We have made many content regarding also not only what is happening but also what could happen possible future for Europe. We have collaborated with many projects, yours, but also the all the startups prioritizing the European sphere. We try to support all the European projects that we had the chance to be in contact with. We are in the New Collect Club. We are many projects that many groups that are they have in mind of creating a Europe that we envision, built by youths and on a debate level. And so we also had some issues, of course, but we hope that everything will be good again. We will be soon also, we want to start our own podcast, like you're doing, which is amazing, and we also want to follow this kind of path. We also want to start to do our first real life event. The real life event
Hmm.
is basically the main idea behind the whole project is that we need to gather in real life, talk between us, talk about the issues. We want to do it, and we will do it certainly. And we also have in mind great collaborations with our projects. So we still have much to do. We have done, in my
Hmm.
opinion, a good amount of things so far. And we have done it because the people are interested in talking about Europe, European related things, and they are interested in debating. So we have my project, your project, all the projects we have right now, they have basically a red carpet uh, for the future in front of us. We have much opportunities we can collaborate on many things, but most importantly, we have many people that want to be part of this, which don't have a home, and we can give one to them. So there are many youths that are interested in writing, talking, debating, discussing, making content. They are all out there. We just need to be more present to them. Just like we said at the start of this video, like you need to be more present. You need to be closer to those people. As soon as you're closer to them, you're going to do amazing things. And that's what we're aiming to do.
Hmm. That's great. Also, I mean, we have this enthusiasm and this passion, I think, in the youth, especially since like last year, since Trump came back into the Oval Office, I feel there's like a great European like awakening going on across the continent, and there are a lot of like, and Europe lacks this debate space, this discourse that goes across borders and really unites us. And we see more and more of projects like yours and mine and others getting created. And I think there are not enough of them yet. And also there will be, I think, a lot of growth in this space just because it's much needed. It's to unite Europe and to just build this space. So that's great what you're doing. And you say right now the core platform for Mathscore Europe, just to understand it, you have like, you do social media content on TikTok and Instagram,
Yeah,
and you have also like the core is like a Substack and a
yeah,
Discord community.
exactly. So
Hmm.
we have on our Substack we have this amazing group of people, which is coordinated by this Spanish guy, which also known in Forum Europaeum. He joined us and he decided to coordinate the article sphere. We have a lot of people writing articles about any kind of issues, and we publish them on our Substack. We also promote them on our social medias, and the articles is also another very important part for us. The first thing I said when they joined the project is that being a space for debate means that you need to be able to write about anything. We don't have any ideological barrier for our articles. The only thing is, of course, you don't have to spread hate, you don't have to like go towards that kind of path. But besides that, you can talk about anything. You can even write an article arguing about against the European Union that we have right now. We're going to publish it. Maybe we will have a counterpart article because we want to
Hmm.
be as neutral as possible. But we want to give a space for people to express their ideas, which they are not the ideas of Lasco Europe. Those are individuals expressing their ideas, but still we want to give them the space to do it. We believe that we need to have more spaces like this one. We have to have spaces where people are able to express their ideas, and so we built a space where there is no limit for your ideological expressions. As we thought, on just extremists, you don't find a lot of people writing like we do. So we only got articles from the center right, center left. But we got
Hmm.
people who are maybe supporters of parties being members of the APP, or people being supporters of parties who are members of the Greens. And they both wrote articles, they both confronted each other on those articles, and we published both of them because we don't have any limit in that. The article group was also able to organize with the debate between the representative of the Maltese elections. We were also
Hmm.
able to do it because people they wanted to join a stage of debate and to be part of this. And so, yeah, we have the Substack. We also have Instagram and TikTok where we grow very fast, and we're contributing, like informing the people about what's happening. We're collaborating with other projects. We will soon start also, we want to start our X page, something similar to what other platforms that have, because we want also to be present there. And so we have many spaces of where we want to share our content. I believe we still have much more to do with the podcast. We will finally activate our YouTube channel. We have much more to do. And I believe that this is the first step, like being on those platforms is the first step to reach all the people that are interested, as we said before, in this kind of content.
Hmm. That's very ambitious. What's like the goal you have or the long-term vision for Lasco Europe? So you're expanding now across different media formats of a podcast and YouTube and X. Do you want to turn it into like a media company? Do you have a long-term vision for the project?
Yeah. So for our long-term vision, I believe that I have a few goals. The first ones, as I said before, the events with politicians, and we also have to want to have our first like opening event, inviting all the people from this kind of platforms. So I have in mind a bunch of ideas like of this, like the events, the merch, and the podcast. But on the big picture, I want to create a project that on the future will be able, as we can call it a media platform, a media project that is able to diversify its content, to have more, to reach out all the people interested in economics, in politics in general, in geopolitics, focused on like international relationships. So I want to create a space for information, but also for content creation by the individuals. So articles, videos, interviews. I want to start a project which has the capability to reach the politicians itself. The final goal, as we said many times, is to become a such powerful media project to the point where we're going to be able to support political campaigns. If we see a
Mhm.
campaign for European defense, we want to be able to support it in any way possible to amplify its reach and to share it as much as possible to the people interested. So my idea is to create a space, as I said many times before, for young people to express their opinions and to give a real impact, to shape your to debate, as we
Mhm.
say in our bio.
Mhm. So also basically as an opinion shaper and maker, would you say you are then like more of an activist, or are you more of a journalist?
So I'm trying also to understand where if I'm between or something else. I believe that right now we are in this at this moment of time we're more something like a journalist because
Mhm.
like writing articles, interviewing people, participating to these kind of things is more of the journalistic work. I believe that as soon as we will be able to go and record the protest, we will be able to talk with people. We will reach a level in which we will be started to look like a lot more an activist. From a personal opinion, I think I will still be in between of the two because I will be
Mhm.
doing the two things at the same time. But for the people joining Glasgow Europe in the future, I believe that they will be as activists of these kind of like ideas. And I believe that being a journalist, like calling yourself a journalist, means you also need to have you need to be very neutral. Many things you need to be. There is a whole idea behind being a journalist, which it's not easy to give yourself that name, in my opinion. But I believe that I
Yeah.
have many people in the project that in the future that will be able to call themselves journalists, and I will be very happy to give them the space that they deserve, in my opinion.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, this terms are like it's also not a protected term. Everyone can call themselves a journalist if they want to, but
Yeah,
as I
yeah.
said, it's a different kind of method. But we need also like media makers, journalists, activists who have strong opinions and have also see the necessity for Europe objectively. If someone wants to contribute to Last Call Europe, are you like based only in Italy? Is it like very local, or do you work across borders with different people from all of Europe? How does it work?
Yeah, so we have I'd say that half of the members, of course, are from Italy because, you know, the people I knew, the people that want to collaborate. But we also have a big part of the project which is located outside of Italy. We have members from Romania, we have Spain, Malta, Germany, France. We have many people from outside of Europe that was are interested in creating content. Much of the content we created was done by people that are not in Italy, and we need to speak with them in English. So we are very open to people contributing outside of Italy. I'm trying to support people outside of Italy to contribute because of the situation, because I don't want to create a Italy-based project. I want to create a project where people they feel part of this being European. So if anyone wants to contribute, we have spaces for anyone in the project. We are not like discriminating anyone
Mhm.
based on your country. Of course, I believe it's going to be easier if you want to contribute if you're part of the European Union as or a part of Europe, because I don't see it very easy for someone to contribute being like, I don't know, from Canada or from the United States. They can still do it, but I believe that we should try to envision a project where the people contributing are part of the issue, are part of the problem. If we want to solve a problem, we need to have people inside of it contributing. And so I think that in the future we will expand more our European presence. I think that the more we continue to go this path, the more we'll find people from outside. We were contacted by many people from other countries, and was very happy about it. And also the collaborations we are doing. We try to prioritize the collaborations with projects outside of Italy because we
Yeah.
already have many contacts in Italy. We want to create this interlink, like this sphere of people collaborating regardless of the country they're in. And that's mostly what we want to do. So we accept support from anyone, from anywhere, and we are trying to find collaborators outside of Italy because that's the whole point. The debate between people of the different countries, that's the idea we need to support.
Hmm. And speaking of like the collaborations with different projects across Europe, what are the like the current or past most important or most interesting collaborations you had?
Yeah. So we had the collaboration. We are a very strong collaboration with Forum Europaeum. I know you talked with
Yeah.
Daniel. I'm a friend. He's a friend of mine. I've also met him. He's an amazing guy. And with Forum Europaeum, we've done much content. They've also supported us in the beginning of our journey. We've also collaborated with many projects for the Crocodile Club. United in
Hmm.
Diversity is a page which is really growing really fast, and we are very happy to collaborate. We've been very happy to collaborate with them. Also, the European Federalist. We have many pages in the sphere who are very interesting, and gave us the chance to collaborate. We also have startups like Monet, which is this European-based app that is in competition with Instagram, we can say that. And they are also an amazing project. And we have had the chance to collaborate in many posts with them. We also have some Italian collaborations. We had Generazione Europa, which is this project made by a guy from Rome, which is really nice. And we also had the chance to collaborate with them. So we have many collaborations. We will have much more in the future, hopefully. But what unites all of this collaboration is that we're all have the same goal, which is a stronger Europe, a more functioning Europe. And so they have been it has been really nice to collaborate with them, not only for the content we produced, but also for the idea that we spread together. Now we also have the collaboration with your project. I think it's gonna grow in the future. And so we have many platforms, and we have many possibilities in the European sphere.
Yeah, the sphere is also rapidly growing, thankfully, and that's very awesome. And also the people you just mentioned, I mean, Daniel, of course, I talked with him already, but also Monet, I talked with him in the past, with Christos. But these are awesome people, and it's great to see that this ecosystem grows and grows. Yeah. Is there something you wish to see in the space to happen next?
So like in the space of the European projects, or more
Yeah.
like okay. So for the European projects, but also for like the whole picture, I believe that we need to counterfight the polarization we have in politics. We need to. There
Yeah.
is a very big polarization right now. You have people like the extremism right now. They want to go towards the far left or the far right, and that's very bad because when this happens, when you leave the middle ground, when you have no more connection between the two, then it's much more likely to have clashes between the two, to have fights between the two. So we need to be. Europe needs to work against this. We need to understand again the value of the opposition. We need to understand again the value of having different ideas, of sharing the different ideas, of debating them. It's important to understand that changing your opinion and changing your vision of politics is not something bad. We need to get out of this fossilized situation in which you have your opinion and you are staying on that no matter what. And
Mhm.
we need to leave this idea which was given by Trump, but also there were many politicians with this idea of the opposition being your enemy. It's not your enemy, and so you should only be different in ideologies. You don't need to go on a human level, and that's something we're very good in doing. In the Crocodile Club,
Mhm.
I've met people which share a different idea and opinion from me, like regarding the future of Europe. There were many people who visualized a more socialist Europe, someone who visualized a more nationalist Europe. Regardless from that, we were able to debate those opinions to give our opinion. But after that, we will only people like sharing a good amount of ideas and sharing the interest on doing these things. So I think that we need to. I want in the future to see a those projects fighting more against this kind of polarization, acknowledging
Mhm.
more the importance of opposition and the importance of having also it's also important if we can say it to have people on the extreme. We also need someone to confront ourselves with from the extremists. We need to get out of this comfort bubble. And I believe that there are a few projects and a few people in this sector that like to stay in this comfort zone. We maybe need to get out of this to confront ourselves with other ideas, with people, maybe also confront ourselves with people saying that they hate the European Union. We still need to
Mhm.
confront ourselves with them, because if we don't do so, if we continue to talk between ourselves, we will reach a level in which they will be stronger than us, and we will have lost many years in doing nothing almost. So yeah, we need to go outside and to we need to debate with those people and to confront ourselves with other ideas as much as possible.
Yeah, of course. And I agree very much. I mean, on one side, that we have to embrace basically this liberal pluralism of different ideas that is, I think, very constitutional to European democracy in general, that we tolerate people with different ideas and opinions, even in times of polarization. But also that we have to like really talk with the people and approach them, because right now the problem is that Europe is still a project where like the most of the elites and establishment, the old parties are on it, but even they have like are hesitant to go the next step. But we have also to still convince a lot of the voters, the general public, or inform them that actually Europe is in their interest. It's in the interest of most people in Europe to see Europe united, because, as you said at the beginning, it gives more leverage, more strength to the individual members. Regarding, but also, as you said, Trump, I think, flared up a lot of this polarization. At the same time, also, the Americans are working heavily right now, at least under MAGA, to like support the anti-EU movements. Do you
Yeah.
have like a view on the future of the transatlantic relationship, on NATO, or especially how are the views in the Italian public?
Yeah, so I believe that you cannot have like two Western worlds. I believe we still need to understand that we are on the same boat. We still need to be together. And we still need to fight for the ideas we fought in the past. And
Mhm.
sadly, there are some parts of the world that still do not embrace the idea of democracy and freedom we have. We share that idea. We share the idea of democracy. We share the idea of freedom. Regardless of who is running right now, the United States, they still have that idea in mind, and we still do as well. So I believe that the relationships within Europe and the United States, the North America in general, needs to remain as strong as possible. We need to fight against politicians on both sides that are trying to undermine this situation. Because if we end up in a world in which we are separated, we will go towards a more destabilized situation for us, while the other side will be much more organized, in my opinion, than we are. And therefore, we need to stay together. Being together with the United States doesn't mean that there is no space for a European Union, for federalized Europe. Like the idea of a federalized Europe doesn't go away from an idea of a relationship with the United States. I believe that NATO maybe at the moment is something we still need to be thankful for, in my opinion, and we still need to embrace it. But we may be at the moment in which we should start to think about a European version of NATO, because of how things are going, because we have seen that the basically the whole plan behind NATO is coordinated by the United States. It's not really nice, but NATO was also an example that we can, like the European countries, can go along and support each other with a defense project like the one we've built. So I believe that NATO was an example, something that can be done again with European countries. And
Mhm.
in my opinion, the relationship still need to go. We still need to work for it. but we need to be careful. It doesn't need to be a one-way relationship. We don't need to be a like we cannot stay alive because of what the United States decide to do. We still need to be independent on many sectors, and we need to be able to sustain ourselves regardless of who is running the United States. It's not possible that based on their elections, our future is decided. Their elections need to be something, maybe it can undermine the relationships, but we need to stay independent. And our situation doesn't need to be bothered by who is running the White House, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, at this point, very obvious that we have to like become sovereign from the United States and like meet them on probably some even playing field and stop being as vassalized. But also that this is like a very tricky situation. Like for like Russia and China and all the like dictators and assholes in the world are divided Western world. The greatest democracies in the world, the United States and the European ones, don't work together anymore. This is of course great for the dictators and autocrats, and they will be able to weaken and dismantle us way easier as long as Europe and United States are divided. But at the
Yeah.
same time, right now, under Trump at least, the United States is more of a threat in many regards to European democracy. So we have to like learn to stand on our own, I think. So we are more independent and build something like a European NATO as a hedge while not dissolving the real NATO. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I agree.
Yeah, I think we are very much aligned. I mean, that's why we are talking. We have very similar views, and I think it's also the views and the ideas of the day. And yeah, maybe I think it's start to also wrap up. Last Call Europe, I think, is very great project what you're doing. If someone wants to like join Last Call Europe, what's the best way to do it?
I mean, you can contact us on Instagram. We have our
Mhm.
Google Form application. We have our email, also our phone number. You can join the WhatsApp group. We have many ways to contact. You can also just send a direct message on Instagram. So we basically accept anyone. It's a voluntary project. So you don't accept. At this level, we won't be able to pay anyone, but we are
Mhm.
accepting anyone who's interested in helping. And we can be contacted on basically any platform. I think we have many ways of being contacted. Yeah.
It's great. But you are like a youth project, so is there like a age cap or can everyone apply and join?
We don't have any age cap. Like, I mean, it's a project which is more focused on the youth, on like helping the youth people, but we don't have any cap. Like, if someone over the age of 30 or 40 wants to join, we don't have any problem with that, of course. And I mean, we are in need of people interested in this sector. So if you are willing to join, even though you see that the project is more youth based, it means that you are on the same boat as us. As I said before, we need to go towards the same direction. So yeah, we don't have any age cap for the moment.
Okay, that's great to for the listeners and viewers who are maybe interested in joining and contributing to Last Call Europe, even if you are a bit older, you can still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, comrade, it was an awesome discussion. Thank you very much for joining today.
Thanks to
Best
you.
of success with Last Call Europe, and it was great pleasure talking to you.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me, and I hope we'll be again here in collaborating with the two projects. So thank you very much.
We will certainly. Thank you.